Hello, everybody. Marla Mac here, Aligned Business Guide and Advanced Human Design Specialist. Thanks for joining me today. I want to talk about imposter syndrome and how human design can support you in navigating imposter syndrome. So I can tell you from my perspective, I am now about 4 years into my human design experiment at the recording of this video and have been using it and incorporating it more and more in my business as time goes on. And one thing I've discovered is I am, by really leaning into my design, by shedding the layers that are not me, right? My conditioning, and really dialing into what feels good and natural for me. And as a 1-3 manifesting generator with emotional authority, right? Following my strategy, which is to respond as a generator type, and and my authority, which is wait for clarity, right? With my emotional solar plexus. As I've really dialed into those and really embraced my 1-3 profile, 1 being the investigator, 3 being the trial and error martyr, I've really been able to dial into what feels good, what I'm here to offer. It is an ongoing journey, of course. I don't know if there's ever a time where things are perfect, right? There's always a little testing and poking around, and you have to just allow for that. But what I've noticed is the more that I really sink into and really kind of integrate my human design strategy and authority, and most importantly, I learn about me and how I naturally operate, and I allow that as opposed to trying to put up all sorts of roadblocks or force myself to operate a certain way because maybe that's the definition of success, right, of the week or whatever those things are. I've really shed a lot of that thanks to human design and understanding my design. And I feel much better and I feel much lighter moving forward. And so therefore, what I've been doing is leaning into this path to mastery as a generator type. Of course, I do the classic skipping steps and playing around and doing all that kind of fun stuff. But I just want to kind of let you know that 2 years ago, I wasn't where I am today. So 2 years ago, I leaned in and made offers and helped people based on where I was in my journey. And now 2 years later, I am much more masterful. And the truth is, in another 2 years, I will be even more masterful, or maybe I would have pivoted or, right? And so, but the sort of keeping on this human design journey allows me to continue to be aligned, whatever that may be at that moment in time, right? Give yourself permission to shift and pivot. And so, when I keep that in mind, I'm okay with this journey. I understand how this all works. And of course, I've helped people and people have been very forthcoming with their praise, and that's wonderful. And I'm not saying that to show off or, pat myself on the back, although patting yourself on the back, awesome. Do more of that, right? More self-love and more self-empowerment. We need more of that in the world. What it is it's really sort of really, how would I say it? If anybody understands the expression, dilly-gaff, is understanding more and more that I really care less about the society's way of dictating this or that, or how I should show up, or what success looks like, or what have you. The things I used to care about before learning about my human design is now I have this understanding of, wait, I show up the way I do, and that is success, right? I show up the way that feels natural and authentic for me without all the costumes and the masks and the onion layers of conditioning. And the more I lean into what feels good for me, the better I feel and the more progress I make. And ultimately that gives me that ability to shed this monkey mind, yaka, you're not good enough, blah, 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 blah. It's not perfect. It does creep up every so often. And when it does creep up, there's a recognition now that I am stretching my comfort zone and I am up leveling. And so when I hear that voice inside of my head, because it has popped up a couple of times lately, so it made for a perfect video topic, for this week, as well as I see it in the comments and the questions that people ask in my audience and my Facebook group in Human Design Aligned Business Facebook group. I see these questions where people either talk about imposter syndrome, or they talk about being stuck and they don't know how to move forward, or maybe they say they have too many ideas. Right? That is actually your imposter syndrome and your monkey mind playing a game with you to keep you stuck and keep you safe. Now, I know some of you said, hey, some people said just pick one and move forward. Well, yes and no. So I would say dial into your strategy and authority according to human design and really feel into which of those ideas or concepts and that you've been contemplating, which of them do actually feel good. And give yourself permission to play. Give yourself permission to test. Pretend this is the business sandbox that you're in and allow yourself to experiment. Now, if you're like, I still want to have more clarity than that, that's fair. And if your strategy authority is not bringing you there, and that probably is because you're having difficulty dialing into your strategy and authority in this case, either you're new, right, and you're still practicing with human design, or it could also be, in business, you may not have navigated that journey before. So this is all brand new to you. So what do you start with? Well, what I would say is consider what you would like to be known for in a year from now or 2 years from now. And is there something in your world on your list that feels aligned with that question? What would you like to be known for in a year or two? Is there something in that, in your list of too many ideas that actually feels like it's pointing you in that direction? So that could actually give you a clue. Of course, I always encourage people to really dial into their authority, really dial into their strategy, right? As a generator type, somebody can really ask you those yes or no questions so you can feel through what your gut's saying, even if you are emotional authority. And if you are non-sacral, right? Use your strategy, use your authority to dial in. But remember, this is all perfectly imperfect. And give yourself that permission to not be perfect. Give yourself permission to show up as you are. Give yourself permission to pivot when something doesn't feel good. Give yourself permission to experiment and play. You are actually going to move forward faster if you take a step in the wrong direction, because then you'll be like, this doesn't feel good. And that is an indication of what does feel good. Right? If you know what direction not to point in, you can actually get clarity on what direction, to move in next. So that's an encouragement for you, right? And if you're sitting on the sidelines looking for that magic bullet or waiting for that magic shortcut in terms of business and business building, I can tell you it's not going to happen because there is no magic bullet. The faster that you take your first steps imperfectly, the faster you will get results, right? So the faster you take your first steps completely imperfectly, the faster you will get results. The faster you will start knowing what feels good and what doesn't. Doesn't matter what strategy and authority you have. Doesn't matter what type you are in human design. So give yourself permission to play in the sandbox. That's one of the reasons why I created the group program that I have, which is Business Alignment by Design. As I said, business is always a journey and always dialing into things. And I am always, paying attention to my strategy as a generator to respond and my authority, emotional authority, wait for clarity. I'm always doing that at every step of my business, especially for the big things with my emotional authority. So I can truly feel what direction feels good, what I can dial into, what I can get behind, right? What lights up my sacral. So all of this to say that imposter syndrome can actually be reduced when you follow your strategy and authority, when you really start learning about your magic through your human design chart, right? Your potentials, what is feels natural to you, your natural gifts and talents, maybe shedding a lot of these preconceived notions about how you're meant to show up and what success looks like and all that, and really dialing into what feels authentic for you. And also to let you know that when you do start up leveling and stretching your comfort zone, that sometimes the imposter syndrome monkey mind shows up again. And that may never go away completely. And that is okay. Recognize it for what it is. Applaud yourself for the fact that you're stretching your comfort zone and you're moving forward, because all that imposter syndrome is trying to do is keep you safe. And by keeping you safe, it's keeping you stuck. Remember, business is one of the most radical, personal, self-development and, self-growth modalities you will ever experience. And any business owner who's had, any experience or any success under their belt can actually back up that statement. So remember, imposter syndrome is just this monkey mind trying to keep you stuck. Dialing into your strategy and authority can help guide you past that. And remember, every time that shows up, it means you're stepping out of your comfort zone and you're stretching it and you're stepping into new territory. And you can just say, hey, thanks for sharing. Now move on. And it happens to all of us. It's even happened to me recently, and I started laughing about it. I was like, wow, there it goes again. Blah, 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 blah. Right? And that's kind of what it sounds like to me. Blah, 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 blah. So laugh it off and move forward. But definitely, I can tell you that really, really dialing into my human design and really anchoring that in and embodying it and understanding how I move through life and how I respond to things and how things feel for me is truly what has gotten me past this fear that tries to show up to stop me in my tracks from moving forward and stretching my comfort zone in business. All right. So I hope that helped in this video. I'd love to know your comments. I would love to know where you're feeling stuck and trying to move forward. And hopefully in this video, there have been some guidelines and some tips to help you get unstuck and maybe encourage you to go back to your human design and learn a little bit more about it to move forward. I'm Marla Mac. I'm an aligned business guide and advanced human design specialist from yourgenius.net. All right. Have yourself an awesome day. Cheers.